Hello, everybody. This is Rori Raye, and welcome to Rori Raye Feminine Energy Radio. And today I have with me the great Teal Elisabeth. And I'm so excited about this conversation, I cannot tell you. She is from Relax into Love Coaching. Just that title is so amazing. Teal, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rory. It's an honor and a pleasure.
I would love to know your story from the first time I met you many years ago. How did your relationship develop from where it started? Please tell us that story and how you help women basically do the same thing you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I I feel like they always say your mess is your message. And I struggled with relationships for a really long time. I was your classic, still am, classic A-type overachiever, right? Climbing the corporate ladder, checking all the boxes in my life. But there was this gaping void in my life around love and relationships. And it really bothered me so much. And no matter how many times I went out on dates, the same thing would happen over and over again. I'd fall into this pattern that I didn't even realize until 8 years later, until I met you and went on this journey of relationship coaching. But I fell into this pattern of what I now coin the hook and fizzle. I would hook men in with this allure of being this independent, badass, fun girl. But then a few weeks or a few months into dating me, it would just fizzle away. And that would happen over and over and over again. And it just left me so heartbroken every single time because I would just start to get excited and I just start to open up my heart and get nervous and let him in, right? And then he would just dump me. And I remember this happening and I just felt so frustrated and upset. And it really started to eat away at my own self-worth, right? I started thinking, what is wrong with me that I can't get a guy to stick around, right? And God, if there was an award for resiliency in dating, I would got number one place because no matter how many times I got thrown down, I would just step back up and get back out there and try again. And it wasn't until I was at a really low point, my girlfriend was like, maybe you should talk to Rory and check out some of her stuff and try out, like getting a coach in this and helping help with this because obviously what you're doing isn't working. And I had never even considered relationship coaching. I'd never even heard of the concept. And it felt uncomfortable to even think like, oh, shoot, maybe I'm the problem here. But it was the biggest awakening of my life at that time. And once I started really looking more introspective and understanding this whole world of feminine energy and my own self, I was able to radically shift things in my life. And I ended up attracting the love of my life. At the time, we kind of got into this hot and cold dynamic. And that's where it was really good to keep deepening into my own understanding of this world because I was able to shift out of the hot and cold and get him to actually commit to me forever and get married and now be together and have our little baby together. So things have shifted so much. But from that moment, it was just such an eye-opener to realize that there was a way for me to make the change, but it had to start with me going deep within myself first. But yeah, since that moment, we are together. We've been together. We ended up quitting our corporate jobs and traveling the world for 2.5 years, being, nomadic entrepreneurs. I ended up becoming a relationship coach, as you know, and it's just been a magical, magical life ever since. I pinch myself every day.
What do you think turned it around for him?
For him,
For him, what did you do that turned it around? You didn't lose your ability as an entrepreneur or a sharp, smart woman. What do you think it was?
it was really learning how to connect to my heart and let him see my heart and feel my heart. That was the difference. And I know that that may sound confusing to women that maybe haven't quite experienced that yet, but for so long, I was putting on this facade that I thought men wanted of being a certain way, acting a certain way, pretending that I had what they wanted, but I wasn't actually really letting him see me and feel me for my authenticity. Or I would a little bit, but not enough to get him to really stick around. And I was so afraid that if I really let him in, that either he wouldn't like what he saw or that he would leave me and walk away. And so it took a lot for me to really go into my own self and realize that I needed to love on myself first and deepen and strengthen my own love of myself, and then learn how to communicate with him from that place that was able to help him feel like, wow, I don't want to live my life without her.
Oh, wow. Do you ever speak with him about it? Is he able to verbalize at all what changed for him?
You know, it's interesting because if you ask him, he would say he wanted to be with me from the moment he met me. And isn't that interesting? That in my head, I was building up all these stories and I was challenged with feeling like he didn't want to stick around or he was being hot and cold. But in his eyes, I had an imprint printed on him from day one. And it was just my own journey that I had to go on to feel like I could really deepen into myself. That was what really had him connect and stick and stay. I think in his mind, he always wanted to be with me, but I think that I could have sabotaged it along the road. And thank goodness I didn't. Yeah, but I don't think he realized anything that I did.
Wow. So
Yeah.
now you help other women do that. Do they come to you with situations all over the map? But it sounds like if you want them to relax into love, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, you know, at first when I was starting out as a coach, I hated the idea of like all the tips and tricks to get them to want you, right? I didn't want to teach that stuff. That sounded really superficial and surface level. I wanted to help women to deepen into their relationship with themselves, because that is at its core what it's all about. It's never about the guy. And as you know as well, it's never really about the guy. It's about the relationship that we deepen and build with ourselves. And I really do believe that relationships are the most beautiful container and incubator for us to deepen into our own spiritual development and our soul's journey for ourselves. And that's really what I help women to do first and foremost. You know, I'm here to help you get the guy. Absolutely. And women have gotten the guys a million times over from working with me. But that's not the promise. That's not the goal. The goal is to have such an unwavering sense of self, such a confidence, such a love, such a deep sense of self-worth, that you will stand in front of any high quality man and still know that you're going to choose yourself over them every single time, because that's what's the most important. And from that place, you are the most irresistible woman to any man that you want.
Wow. All right, I'm just going to take this in the direction that I feel. So let's see, I'm really terrified. I'm terrified of dating. I'm upset with men. I mean, you must get women who've tried this over and over and over again and just sworn off of online dating and have tried having a conversation with their man over and over again. And they're afraid of so many different things. I mean, I know myself, you don't strike me as attracting many people pleasers, do you? Women
Oh,
who
I
are
mean,
people
they come
pleasers?
in all shapes and forms. Absolutely. I mean, anxiety, people pleasing. No, most women I think are that come to me are more in a place of feeling uncomfortable being able to deepen into that sense of their own vulnerability. Yeah, but there are a lot of women that feel very anxious attached, right? That aren't feeling fully comfortable and confident in who they are. And yeah, want to do whatever they can to make the relationship work. They may not see themselves as a people pleaser, but they're wanting to make that relationship work, wanting to make dating work. But in doing that, they're settling and not being
Wow.
true to themselves.
Give me a tip. What if I'm a woman who is unhappy, but I don't want to leave my guy, I just want it to get better. What's the first thing you tell me to do?
Yep, I've got many of those. Yeah. The first thing I would do is to completely walk away.
Whoa.
Whoa, I know. Whoa. And when I say walk away, I mean, this could be in a moment where you are fighting and you want to shut down or you want to lash out or attack, walk away. Could also be in a relationship that has been stagnating and has just lost the flame and the passion and the fire. I would say to walk away. We need to pull back in our energy because a lot of times subconsciously, we're not even realizing that we're putting so much focus, subconscious focus and mental focus on trying to make this work. And we're frustrated that it's not working. But when we walk away and we move that focus off of the relationship, it's like men can feel the energy. They can feel the gap in the focus. And it makes them curious and it makes them go, huh, where'd she go? Right? Even if you haven't physically even left, if your energy has shifted, they will feel the gap in that energy. And that's what's going to make them start to change their behaviors and their dynamics. So often men are just mirroring our own energy. And I love talking about this. And this is one of the methods and the teachings and that I've really coined is, that relationships are all about energy, and relationship energetics is such a huge part of understanding how to master this area of our life, because it's about realizing that it's not what we say, it's not what we're even doing, it's not how we're looking, it's how we're making our man feel and how we're making men feel in general. And so if you're feeling upset and unhappy, they're responding to that unhappiness. And it's causing them to respond and reflect back to you in their own ways what that unhappiness makes them feel, right? Which then ends up usually being a negative spiral. So when we can walk away, when we can pull back our energy and really focus on filling back up our own cup and making our own self happy outside of the relationship, that's going to shift then how they notice you and how they feel you moving forward.
Oh, I love that. So if anger is a problem, and let's say I'm that woman and I walk away, then how do I get the conversation started later? Or do I need to do my spiritual work first?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're in a moment of conflict, then obviously we don't have the luxury of time to go on a big spiritual journey to heal ourselves and then come back to the conversation. We do need to not push it under the rug and have that conversation. But I think that, yes, learning a few tools around communication to help communicate in the right way that's built in with respect and built with love is the most important thing. We need to come back. We need to pull away. We need to get down to the deeper truth of what our anger is really trying to tell us, right? Because at the end of the day, emotions and anger and feelings, they're all just messengers. They're messengers that are telling us that something isn't in alignment with our higher self. Something is making us feel like we are out of alignment. And so when we can pull away and not respond in the moment, we can give ourselves that space to understand, where am I feeling this out of alignment? And what is that deeper truth? Okay, the deeper truth is I'm not feeling respected here. Okay, the deeper truth is there's a value that's being missed, or that he is not, he's not treating me in the ways that I know that I want to be treated in my highest self. And when we can get down to what that deeper truth is, then we can come back to the situation and be able to share the message, not the feeling. Right. And that's where men can really understand you and hear you. Right. I hear this all the time. Women are like, I'm trying to tell him all the time. I'm trying to tell him what I want, and he's just not hearing me. Right. It's because he's hearing the energy of your feelings, of the emotions, and he's not hearing the nuggets of truth that are underneath it. So when we can step away and get down to what that truth is, and then process the energy of the feeling, come back to the situation and say, this is the truth, right? I was feeling angry, and I'm angry because I'm feeling like this isn't in alignment, or this is making me feel disrespected. Then he can understand you and hear you on a deeper level. And that's what can shift and move the needle.
That's awesome. So I'm guessing that you can teach women to make that happen more quickly. Like in the middle of
Absolutely.
it, they could step back and then say that.
Yes. Communication, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that I see women coming to me with relationships, the women that are in relationships, right? Is how do I get them to hear me? How do I get to feel seen and understood? How do I get them to open up? How do I get them to feel like I want more depth, right? And so much is about how we choose to hold that container of space for them to be able to drop into their hearts. And that was something that you really helped me to see in my relationship as well, is that we get to be this beautiful feminine space for them to drop into their hearts. We talk to them and we see them as men. We want to connect with them as men, but what we don't realize is that they don't want to connect with us from their minds. They want to connect with us from their hearts. It feels even funny saying this to you because you taught it to me. But it's so true. And I've seen it firsthand with my man, being able to give him that space. He's out all day working, shooting the shit with the guys, and he comes home to me and puts his head on my lap and snuggles with me on the couch, and I pet his head, and he just melts in my presence, and he just opens up and shares all the things that are really on his heart and that he's feeling and that he wants support with. And I get to be that loving, nurturing space for him. And that's really what men want at the end of the day. But we have to know how to hold that space as a woman and not meet him as another man in the relationship. And that's what I see as being probably the biggest challenge of our modern day. And it's really what ignited me in wanting to be a relationship coach, is just seeing how much the pendulum has swung so far from the 1950s housewife identity to now almost this, modern feminist woman that is almost putting men down and feeling like we can do everything. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need men, right? There needs to be a balance, and there needs to be a coming back to neutral, where women can still honor men as the beautiful men that they are and hold space for them to be men. But that also means that we get to learn how to relax into that feminine essence within ourselves that can meet them as an equal and opposite match, a polarity that will allow both the feminine and the masculine to shine.
Wow. So relaxing into love, when you just said relax into yourself, is that part of what I loved you saying was how the relationship itself actually is like a ground, a place, an experience to help you find your deeper and higher self.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the most beautiful part of relationships. And once we have that place within ourselves, then it just opens up so much space for the relationship to continue to grow for the long term. I've been with my husband for 10 years now, and the amount of iterations that we've had together in our relationship has been so beautiful. Like, I almost look at it as like a DNA double helix, right? Where each of us are our own individual souls continuing to grow, but we get to be with this other person. And sometimes we're right aligned and we're right connected to each other, and it just feels so in it. And other times we pull apart a little bit. And sometimes you might be in your relationship and you feel like you're disconnecting, but sometimes that's just an inner growth that you're both on, and you'll meet back up at a higher level and be even more aligned. And so as you're in your relationship, looking at if you can master the fundamentals of your own self, right? Knowing what you want, communicating with love and respect, standing up for your needs, being a true partner, and you've been able to attract a man that can also meet you there, then from that place, you guys have set the groundwork to grow and evolve together for as long as you can, right? As long as this earth will allow you to. And that, to me, is what real partnership is all about. It's not just about getting a guy and having a fun time and getting to get married. It's about, who is this life partner, and who is this partner that is going to help me to continue to be the best goddamn version of myself for the planet.
Wow. I just love this.
I know it sounds all wonderful, and in the day-to-day it feels hard and difficult, but this is what's possible, right? And this is what I want to ignite women into. This is not just about getting a guy. This is about, who do I get to be for the planet, and how do I get to attract a partner that's going to help me and be my best self and have them be their best self.
That just sings to me so much, because in every moment with anybody, but especially with the person you're living with, it's like, am I dumbing myself down? Am I becoming more shallow in order to get along? Am I agreeing in order to keep peace? Or are we both challenging each other to grow into more amazing beings? Wouldn't that be thrilling?
Mm-hmm. And
Totally thrilling.
It's possible, and I'm living it, and I'm doing it every day, and I see my clients doing it. And so I think, when for any women listening that are wanting to get in a relationship, or maybe you're in a relationship, really asking yourself, is this the kind of partnership that is going to stand the test of time, right? That is going to really challenge me to grow and push me, and not look at challenge as something that is going to break the relationship, but that's something that actually can build the relationship to be even deeper. And as long as you have the skill sets and the tools and the confidence in yourself and the respect for your partner, then all of those little moments that might push you, right, or might challenge you, actually get to be the best moments to strengthen your relationship for the long term. Yeah.
This feels like the more that I know I always want, and that everyone always wants the more. It's like, it doesn't feel like deep. It feels like bigger. It feels like together. This is why we're in a relationship. That was
Yes.
extremely inspiring. I got to tell you, Teal, do you have programs that
I do. I
a
do.
woman can get into?
Yeah, absolutely. I have, if any women are just wanting to go deep with me in their own soul journey, I have a one-on-one program that I call Rebirth. And that really is like taking you through a cocoon and a rebirth of your own soul, and giving you that opportunity to shed all the layers that are no longer serving you, helping you to really heal any past traumas, any past, baggage, and stepping into that confident, magnetic, irresistible woman that you are. And I also have group programs that help teach around feminine and energy embodiment, how to really be able to call in that dream partner if you're single and really wanting that, as well as little bundles around how to communicate, how to, slay those fears that are just causing you to have all that anxiety in your head. Tons of little fun little things and deep things, depending on what you're needing.
I love that, and I will make sure that the links are down below for you to find them. Teal, you're amazing. Is there anything more, any more deeper? That this really inspired me. Anything more that you would like to chat about, or deeper you'd like to go?
I think the message I would love to just leave with your ladies is that sometimes it can be really difficult to feel okay, right? When we are constantly reminded about how we're not okay and we don't have what we want, and how social media is just always telling us that we should be somewhere else and that we're not happy enough being just where we are. And I just want to reassure any women that are maybe feeling that sense of comparison, or not enoughness, or wanting something but just not being able to achieve it, that it is completely understandable if you're feeling this. And also that the best way to move through this feeling is to come back to that place of acceptance, that you are exactly where you need to be right now. As frustrating and painful as it may be, that everything is working itself out in divine timing, and that it's really about listening to those intuitive nudges within yourself to guide you on your path. If things are not feeling good right now, it doesn't mean that you're doomed forever. It just means that it's time to listen a little bit more to your own intuition, to those little whispers that are saying, go that way, and let that be the little breadcrumbs that you follow. And that's what I've followed my entire life. It's what brought me to you, Rory. And from those little breadcrumbs, things happen, things shift. And that's when you start connecting into the magic of life. And that's when things start opening up and following all the desires that you have, without you trying to force it with your brain, right? So often we want to go after that goal, we want to get the thing, we want to achieve the desire, but we're trying to do it from our brain, and we're trying to work it out. And I have been such a test of this, and it's so frustrating because it never works out from my brain how I want it. And every time I let go of the oars and I relax into love with myself, into gratitude, into appreciation, and I listen to those intuitive nudges, everything starts flowing again. And that's what I want to help you to do. I want to help you to tap back into that place of magic and intuition and inspiration within yourself, so that you can actually be able to have everything that you want.
Thank you so much, Teal. That was absolutely brilliant. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rori. Appreciate it. So good to see you.
Bye, everyone.